All right, so I just wanted to start with kind of a little bit of background to me. A lot of you on this call probably know who we are by now, but before starting Shiftlab, I spent about 10 years inside of wireless retail. I was a part-time sales rep for quite some time, analytics leader, and then VP of sales operations. And I ultimately just noticed that, especially in performance-based environments, the workforce management tools that were out there and the point of sale systems that were trying to accomplish it just weren't working for us. That we're just going to have a couple slides today to go over essentially how Shiftlab, we're scheduling 30,000 wireless retail associates. But what we're doing is we're increasing profit per hour on average at 10% for the customers that join us, which is a pretty monumental amount compared to traditional workforce management. We're also decreasing wasted downtime in your stores by 6% while boosting the guest and the employee morale. So to kind of go over the challenges that you likely face, and that I faced previously, and that most of our customers coming on board do, is that workforce management is one of the largest costs in this low margin business, and you have to base the majority of the strategy and the proactiveness around it through trust and communication down to hundreds of managers. And those managers are left using tools like you see over here on the right, which just look like a Google Calendar. So not only can they not tell whether they're building a good schedule or not, but also a district manager can't look at 10 and identify if we're really prepared for the weeks ahead. The other thing was that, there's a constant reactivity to spreadsheets. Now, this is daily in some organizations, bi-weekly in some organizations, and also quarterly. But essentially, a lot of times the executives create the strategy. We want no overtime, only top performers get major shifts. Managers need to work 2 weekends a month. We have to go push adoption down to the majority of our organization for them to manually build schedules. We're constantly nudging them to do adjustments to increase the quality of their schedules. And that leads to just a reactive response where either once someone gets a spreadsheet at the end of payroll, which is too late, it's either a really positive response and no one expected it, or it's a negative response and we have to restart this process all over. The other thing is that as we built Time Clock over the last 12 months, I originally thought that it was a commodity, but it gives us access to real-time data, and we noticed that there's just a ton of bottlenecks as it relates to payroll. 5 to 10% of people auto clock out. 15 to 20% of people clock in before their shift is supposed to start when they're not even an opener. 5 to 10% of people have inaccurate punches. So when you look at yesterday's shifts or even over the last week, 10 to 20% of those are wrong and need edited. So what that leads to is district managers always adjusting tons of punches on the busiest day of the week, a Saturday before payrolls due, inaccurate trends, and then an exhausted HR team who is just herding cats. And then the last thing is that, when you deal with a highly generic HRS system or workforce management tool, you get a 30-page pamphlet of what your ROI should look like based upon the efficiencies they saw in a manufacturing industry. You're supposed to pay up front, and you're supposed to wait 9 months until the implementation's done to actually reap the benefits, which wind up being, short-sighted from what you originally expected. So we wanted to solve these things, and showing you the results of that is like, this is one example. I have several through these next 5 minutes, but this is a 50-store trial out of a 200-store chain. Basically, within a day or two of the managers even getting access to our tool to be able to see and easily comprehend strategy, the results moved by $5 to $10 per profit per labor hour in these trial locations. So for only a 200-store retailer, this is $560,000 of operating income if we could annualize and sustain that lift. That happened immediately, not after months. And the way that we do this is through profit-driven schedule automation. If you think about it, whether you're a district manager or a CEO, what we're doing is building every single schedule with exactly what you have in mind. When are our busiest days and hours? Where are our top performers at? Are we working around our employees' preferences? Are we accounting for budgets and overscheduling when we are understaffed and underscheduling when we're overstaffed? Are we placing meal breaks based upon the rules and regulations? Opening, closing duties, key holders, new hires, floating employees, and more. And essentially, some organizations are scheduling 6,000 employees with one click from corporate, and then the manager gets to go in and just make tweaks instead of building 25 to 50 shifts through copy and paste over and over and over every week. We took the reactivity in spreadsheets to prescriptive real-time alerts, and we give them to the people that actually can make change before they become a statistic. So are your stores all open right now? our minimum staffing levels being met, who has taken their break, who hasn't taken their break, who's over their hours and are they productive, all happens within real time to the people that actually can take action. And then, from the reactivity and the payroll bottlenecks, we just started to create basically bots that, validate if a payroll punch looks wrong, or if someone auto clocked out, or if they no showed. And we decentralized the time card, pushed those questions instead of in GroupMe, we push them to the end user and the employee to where they're constantly answering these questions and fueling the time card to where it's always ready to be processed and there's no outside communication. 100% of this is getting done. And then the last thing that you'll see, hopefully, as we move forward, is we give you your ROI immediately within days. So we're super lightweight. We give you a scheduling strategy review over your last 90 days or more. How much time is being theft, through early punch preventions, people coming in shifts when they're not supposed to, what overtime is profitable versus not, are people following through with their breaks, industry comparisons, budget suggestions. And what this results in is one, an immediate flip of the switch ROI that pays for our product times 3 or 4 or 5, sometimes 10. And then the strategic upside, if you follow the suggestions and use the automation, which is way larger than that. So, you're covering all your bases just through flips of the switch, and then there's a huge upside. This year, we've developed time clocks, so early punch prevention, proper cost tracking, early break return prevention, PTO management, biometrics, a bunch of other stuff, and then store pulse, so real-time notifications, live dashboards of both labor and sales, giving you essentially everything that you need to see within seconds in a single tool on any device you're on. One component that we just released, I'm going to talk to you about the ROI for the customer that told us about this, but we started to streamline compliance. So rather than a signature form in your back office saying, I took my break today, and risking yourself with FSLA lawsuits, we started to just show people that we were measuring what matters and capturing forms and consents whenever you return from a break early, whenever you end a shift that needed a break. And essentially, 100% of what you need covered for FSLA is documented. And we found through this that when you schedule a break, there's over a 200% more likelihood of people taking that break, which yields a much larger ROI organizationally, whether you're in California, Illinois, or not. So a couple slides telling you some ROI, and then we're almost wrapped up here. But this is connectivity source, nearing 400 stores, rapid development, measurable hard dollar ROI, which are not things you traditionally hear in workforce management. And our time card management and its streamlinedness is invaluable. They actually made a suggestion for us to do break compliance forms. They made $50,000 of operating income in the first month. So 600K in operating income through just a toggle that was free of charge for them, and a great idea. Then you have, Josh here, who's the COO of GP Mobile, thousands of employees. We increased their profit per hour by $7 in the first month. So if you sustain that, that's like $20 million through just smarter scheduling, less copy and pasting, and compliant schedules. And then, Victra, one of the largest Verizon retailers, same theme, increase profitability per employee, reduce downtime, optimize labor costs. So with that being said, I really want to thank, this isn't all of our IQ customers, but, we couldn't do this without you. Your feedback is invaluable. We care about your ROI, and I hope you guys see that through our service. And if you are interested in joining with us, the first steps are free. I mean, you could basically email Devin, me, at shiftlab.io. We flip on a few integrations without any IT personnel really needing to be involved. You review your ROI and walk away with a true analyst's viewpoint outside of your organization that deals with multiple retailers within a week. And we're ready to start your trial or fully launch within the same month that you engage us. So, we're really quick. They're, basically free labor analysis. We'd love to work with you and help you guys out with your strategy, and hopefully one day you'll become customers.